Somewhere on a beach, tens of thousands of years ago, a human being stood at the edge of the ocean and stared out at the horizon. And they did something no creature on this planet had ever done. They looked at open water, deep, endless, full of things that could kill them, with no land anywhere in sight, and they thought, I'm going out there. Now stop and appreciate how insane that is. Humans can't breathe underwater. We're slow swimmers. We tire fast. Everything about the ocean is designed to kill us. And this person had no map, no compass, no idea what was on the other side, or if there even was another side. And they went anyway. So who was it? Who built the first ship and when? And here's the strange part. The oldest boat we've ever dug up is about 10,000 years old. But we know, for an absolute fact, that humans were crossing open ocean 50,000 years before that. Which means the first ship is a ghost. It's the single most important invention we cannot find. It runs deep. Let's get into it. Start with what we actually have. The oldest boat on Earth was pulled out of a peat bog in the Netherlands in 1955 by a road crew. It's called the Pesse canoe, a single pine log, hollowed out with stone tools, about 10 feet long, roughly 10,000 years old. And it's real. Archaeologists built a copy and got in it. And it floats, it steers, it carries a person. So there it is, the oldest surviving boat in the world. Except that's a lie, or at least, a trick of the evidence. Because that's just the oldest boat that survived. And here's the problem. Boats are made of wood, reeds, and animal hide. Every one of those things rots. Bury a stone tool for 1,000,000 years and it's fine. Bury a boat, and in a few centuries there's nothing left but dirt. So the archaeological record of early boats isn't incomplete. It's basically empty. The first ships didn't vanish from history. They just decayed. So how do you find a boat that no longer exists? You look for where it went. And this is where it gets brilliant, because there's one piece of evidence that's absolutely unarguable. Australia. Here's the thing about Australia. It was never connected to Asia. Not during the Ice Age. Not ever. Even when sea levels dropped and huge stretches of land appeared, there was always deep, open ocean in the way. A gap that could not be walked, waded, or swum. And yet humans were living in Australia at least 50,000 years ago, possibly 65. So think about what that means. There is no land route. There never was. And people got there anyway, which leaves exactly one possibility. They sailed. 50,000 years ago, long before farming, before writing, before the wheel, before anything you'd call civilization, human beings built a craft capable of crossing tens of miles of open sea, loaded it with people and supplies, and made the crossing. And it gets better. This was almost certainly not an accident. You don't accidentally colonize a continent. To establish a population that survives, you need men, women, children, enough people to build a future, which means multiple boats, which means it was a planned expedition. Somebody looked at that water and organized a voyage into the total unknown. And here's the detail that gives me chills. Standing on those islands, you very likely could not see Australia. It was over the horizon, so they weren't sailing toward a place they could see. They may have been sailing toward a hunch, a smudge of cloud, a flight of birds, a smell of land on the wind, and gambling their lives on it. That is possibly the bravest thing our species has ever done, and we do not know a single one of their names. Now, what were those boats? Almost certainly not carved canoes. The best guess is rafts. Bundles of bamboo or reeds lashed together with plant fiber. Simple. And that tells you something big. To build one, you need woodworking. And you need rope. Fiber technology. Knots. And you need something else that isn't a technology at all. Cooperation. You can't build a seagoing raft alone. You can't crew it alone. The first ship wasn't the work of a genius inventor. It was the work of a group. Planning, arguing, building together. The first ship is proof of teamwork, as much as it's proof of engineering. Now, let's be honest. Because the edges of this are genuinely contested. The exact dates for Australia are argued over. Some researchers push back on the oldest ones. And there's an even wilder claim out there. Stone tools on islands in Indonesia and Crete that some say prove other human species, like Homo erectus, were crossing water hundreds of thousands of years ago, long before us. If that's true, we weren't even the first sailors. But that idea is fiercely disputed, and honestly, it might just be that those hominins were washed out to sea on debris and got lucky. Nobody knows. But the core is rock solid. 50,000 years ago, somebody built something that floated and crossed an ocean on purpose. So here's where we land. The first ship is the greatest invention we will never find. There's no museum piece, no name, no date. It rotted away and left nothing behind but a consequence. An entire continent, full of people who could not possibly have walked there. And every ship that has ever existed, every longship, every galleon, every aircraft carrier, every container ship crossing the Pacific tonight, traces back in an unbroken line to that moment. To a group of people on a beach, lashing bamboo together with grass rope, staring at an empty horizon, and deciding that water was not a wall. That's the real invention, not the boat. The idea that the edge of the land is not the edge of the world.